What's good, y'all? It's your boy Herb.
And it's your girl Mo.
And welcome to our
soon-to-be world-renowned podcast. Young, Black, and Figuring It Out.
What up, though?
What it do?
Whatever you telling. You feel me?
Yeah, I do.
Yo, how you feeling?
Wonderful.
Dang. Okay.
You didn't see that coming?
Said that with some conviction. I know that.
Yeah, I do. I feel bright. My soul is happy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like content.
Very much so, truly.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that in your spirit.
Thank you. How you feeling?
Great. I'm also feeling content. You feel me? It's like that, you just feel good, but you're also sleepy. So it's like, I'm feeling great. But even if I wouldn't have the energy to fight it back. So it's like.
A little euphoric, I guess.
Yeah, like I'm just here coasting, feeling good, y'all. It is what it is.
On the same wave. I like that.
Yeah, what it ain't, it just ain't gonna be.
Okay.
Socrates out here.
Mad extra.
Thomas Aquinas out here, y'all. All right. What's his name?
History buff. I have no idea. It's all you.
Aristotle.
Uh-huh.
Mark Kant. Remember
him? Oh, with a K.
Yeah.
Yeah. Son of philosophy. Could have been spelled with a C. I don't know why you try to play me right now.
Huh. All right. So as we always do at this time, I go for mine. I got to shine.
I was like, what song?
This guy, yeah, we don't condone Mr. West around here and all the stuff that he does.
Not
so
at
actually,
all.
Yeah, we're gonna take this right on back. Keep all the fake Yeezys and everything. All right, you ready?
Yes.
So hey, always at this time we ask, what did we figure out this week?
Woot woot.
Let's get right into it. Usually I ask you first.
But you would like to go first?
I'm gonna go first to give you some time to prep. I want to balance the scales.
Bets.
You like, thank you. Yeah. Hey, here's what I realized this week, y'all. Is that the prey will get away. Now, what is he talking about?
Yeah, like prey can mean many things. Which spell are we talking about?
So look, I was watching this video. Right? It's you know your algorithm on Instagram brings them all type of stuff. Now, mine is a select like 3 things. One of them I won't talk about. The other one I won't talk about. But this one I will, which is animal videos. Would be animal voiceover, the stuff going on in the wild kingdom, whatever it might be. I'm watching those
Documentaries,
videos.
whatever.
Yeah, because people who know me know that I'm an animal person. What you call me?
The resident zoologist.
I'm up in here, y'all. So
anytime I got an animal question, Herb, da-da-da-da, and he be knowing.
I be knowing. So people also don't know this, like up until like 6th grade when it like wasn't cool anymore in society, and the culture that I was around kind of like made this not cool. So I slowly dwindled this dream away. I wanted to be Steve Irwin. What? Yeah. I used to watch like called Big Cat Diary and I used to watch all that.
You know how much we as a people love him.
Yeah.
And forever stingrays are the devil. I just don't.
Yeah, the ops.
Oh, hate them.
Nah, so I used to want to be a young person.
Wow.
Anyway, so I'm watching this video on Instagram. So we were rabbit trailing. Right on back. And it was like the wildebeest were running away. And there was a female lion like watching the wildebeest and like was not jumping on it. They were just getting away, right? And then another lion came in and just went in there and just grabbed one. Like jumped on it. Went in there and went for the kill. Boom. Right? And I'm like, you know what? The truth of the matter is, like, life. And here's the thing: if she would have kept staying there, the female lion, all of the wildebeest would have got away, and they would have been hungry, right? And the truth of the matter is, in life, the prey will get away. If you sit there and watch and think, there's gonna be other wildebeest coming stomping on by, and I have a chance to get, and I'm waiting on the right opportunity, they will get away. You gotta just do what the other one did, which is go in there and go for the kill. And it might not be the perfect kill. You feel me? It might not be the easiest thing.
Might be kind of messy.
It might be a little messy, but at the end of the day, you got to go because the prey will get away. Opportunities are not unlimited. You feel me? It's like you got to go for the kill. That window that you see open, it doesn't look like it's closing. It might be moving slow to close, but that thing is closing.
Preach, Pastor Herb.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, yo, you got to go for it. So that hit me because I had a situation where a year or two ago, I could have jumped on. I told you about this one. I could have jumped on the opportunity that would have had me in a different position today. More resources, more access, more whatever. But I kind of like chilled on it, like, oh, I'll get there, right? Thought I had more time. Boom, the prey got away. So if it's there, you got to do like the other lion did. Went in there and went for the kill.
Yeah.
And it was not super pretty.
Take the risk.
You feel me? So I'm watching that video like, oh, that was me. Nah, can't do it. Gotta go for it.
Nice. I mean, the setup well done, because I didn't know where you're going.
It's like, where are we headed with this? Yes, the prey will get away, y'all.
Cute.
Yeah, make that into a sermon.
Pastor, you got it. Mine doesn't sound as cute. It was just all about switching perspectives, right? Like, your perspective is your reality, and everyone has their own. I think sometimes we have to take moments out of our own reality and just look at someone else's perspective. And you start to notice, you know what? It might not be as bad as I'm making it. I think sometimes, ain't nobody asked for all that. Sometimes we have a way of feeling like this is the worst. Oh, woe is me. Oh, this is terrible. I'm going through it. I can't believe it. I'm never going to make it.
I ain't going to make it.
And then you see another perspective. You stand on a different side and you're like, you know what? It could have been worse. I could be 6 feet under. You know what I mean? Like, so much more could be happening. I couldn't, all these things could be happening, and it's not. I am more than what I think I'm suffering under. So, like, sometimes switching that up, and I found myself needing a little reality check recently, and I ain't gonna lie. I was like, ooh, I can't complain no more. The complaints must stop. They must henceforth cease. So
I have questions.
No.
Up in here.
But do I have the answers?
We'll find out, y'all. What led to, this could be a whole episode itself. What led to to that realization?
Okay, so I think there are times when you're triggered by something, and like you could be driving, you could be watching TV, and it just reminds you of something, a situation you were in, a person that was once in your life that's done you wrong or harmed you somehow. And I was just like triggered and thinking and talking about it, talking to a trusted friend. And that friend looked at me like, yeah, but it ain't as bad as it could have been.
Dang, that friend sounds amazing.
I don't know if I want to keep this friend, but that friend was like...
Well, that friend sounds wise and...
like a pastor even.
Wise and a genius. And I haven't seen them, but they probably also like gorgeous, because like the spirit is gorgeous.
I wouldn't say that. I don't see it. But, but they were quick to be like, Mo, I mean... you ain't get beat. Ain't nobody steal from you. Like all these things that could have happened that didn't. I was like, you're right. Which made me feel like my problem seems a little smaller than I was making it. And it doesn't mean my feelings weren't valid. And it doesn't mean that like 100%. What I went through doesn't affect me. But it definitely shouldn't hold me hostage.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Any longer, right? I was like, I guess.
It was
guess
liberating.
I'm staying captive. Yes.
Yo, I hear that. That's dope. And what does it take for people to get to that point? Because when you're in it, it's like, how do you like exist?
Get out of the storm?
I had said this in another conversation, like like the example of the fish swimming in the water, and another fish come up and like, how's the water today? And the fish is like,
what water?
What's water? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's
you're
because
in it.
when you're in it, it's hard to like notice it. You know what I'm saying? So like, what do you think needs to happen for people to notice? Like, oh, I'm kind of in this thing, but if I go to the balcony, as Dina used to say,
yeah,
and I can see it differently.
That's a good. I have no idea, honestly. Look at me trying to figure that out. I was like, how did I get there? I mean, I guess talking about it, coming to terms with what happened, and sharing my story enough with someone who I trust, who could hold me accountable. Can also not necessarily empathize, but at least sympathize. And make you know that it's okay to have these feelings, but you don't want to stay there.
Right.
Yeah. A little support. We all need a friend.
Yeah, and I think it also takes vulnerability and truth. You gotta be true with what's going on to yourself. You gotta be vulnerable in the situation, and that can allow you to kind of come to that. Like, well, you know what? When I really work through this, it not just that it could have been worse, but it's like, oh, you know what? It's not as debilitating as it seems. Because comparison can almost be like whatever. But when you say, and that can be helpful for some people, but also it's not as debilitating as it feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard you. Love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. That's dope. Now, you didn't ask me no questions about what did I figure out today, which tells me.
What does it tell you?
Let me tell you what that tells me. That tells me that I hit it over. I knocked out the park.
I would say that you were so clear. I didn't need clarification. That's what it was.
All right, bet. So,
This man is fishing for compliments today.
Nah, I wasn't. I was just making sure, like, you know, you want to revisit
Yeah, that gorgeous friend name.
That I was talking about. I was like, nah, I wouldn't say that, actually. You funny. But no, that's a dope one.
Thanks.
Man, so today we got such an amazing topic.
Woot woot.
This is actually a really fun topic, and it also is very relevant to us. Not even intentionally, but it's just like, this is relevant to us. You know? And when we thought to talk about this, I don't know if you thought about this, but I'm like, oh, this is actually like, well, in some ways, depending on which one we're talking about, this is actually like our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are existing through this reality.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that when we talked about the topic.
Oh, the funny thing is when you brought up the topic, I naturally am thinking about this. So it was like, this is exactly where I'm at.
That also got to do with me being a man and you being a woman, you know? The difference in ways like that impacts me.
Yes, very differently.
Because I got some longitude. I got 40 years to think about this. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so today's topic, y'all, is called Childfree and Me.
Like a movie.
The steady rise of choosing to be child-free. Now, the reason why we're talking about this topic is actually just 3 weeks ago, there was a section that came out on a different news site that talks about the rise in this and folks who are choosing to be child-free. And just to get some quick stats, in 2022, 43% of households have chosen to be dual income, no kids, or DINK, D-I-N-K, dual income, no kids. And that's a 7% rise from 2012. Now, 7%, feeling like the entire country, that's actually a lot. Like 7% is a lot. Like things don't move that fast.
Round that up, it's 10. You know?
Really? We moving. So that's a lot of people who are choosing that. And again, the term is like DINK, dual income, no kids, or SINK.
Yeah, single income, no kids.
Single income, no kids.
It sounds a lot like someone I know.
Yeah.
Myself.
Me as well. So, yeah, let's talk about that. Like, so we want to go through just explore this a little bit, talk about it, because it is becoming a growing trend in that, and say, like, what are the reasons, what are the expectations, what are some of the risks, what might you miss out on? Let's just kick it. Let's figure it out. You feel me? And also, I feel like this impacts Black folks in different ways, but we can dive into that.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about terminology. So one of the things I found in doing the research here is like there's a very strong difference between the way people, because language matters.
Yes.
The way people frame this, right? So child-free versus childless.
Yes.
Right? Even the idea of childless is an implication and implies something, right? But the idea of childless is saying that encompasses and also has a stigma to it for folks who either, one, are choosing not to have kids and get judgment, or can't have them for many different reasons, or whatever it might be.
But would like to.
Right? Child-free gets at the people who intentionally choose to not have children, right? For many different reasons. So, yeah, I think the first thing, actually like these questions, and you know, one of our dear friends helped us come up with these questions. Somebody who I really appreciate, you know, I always rely on.
I literally cannot with
Shout out to our guy or gal, ChatGPT.
I like to call him Chad or Chadwick, but continue.
Chadlina, y'all. So first is like,
that was so bad.
What inspires us to, like, why do we want to talk about this? You know what I'm saying? For me, one is a reality, but two is like all the implications of folks like not doing that. And also, like, when we first came up with it, I wasn't, but as we did more, I thought about it more, which is we're not alone in this decision.
No.
It's not like one off. So it also is very like affirming for many people. Like, oh, this is a rising trend. It's not something that's wrong, right? It's not to be looked down upon. Like, people are making decisions for many different reasons. So that's really why I wanted to kind of dive into it. It's just, it's like, oh no, it's like a cohort of us doing this.
I like all for bringing awareness and then like not almost normalizing it, because I think personally I've come into, you know, circles or among people who say things that are hurtful and can be very judgmental. So I think the more we talk about this and the more people are able to speak about this freely, the better.
Yeah, so like having it's like many things, the more you can talk about it, it like demystifies and like destigmas that.
Like, stop coming for people. Let them be.
Like, chill out, Joe. What you doing around here? Nah, so that's like, Yeah, so let's talk about it. So some insights on the reasons why people have chosen to be child free, right? So before we even get into the stats, let's talk about us.
As personal humans?
Yeah, I say first, up until this point,
Yeah.
like, they see you're smiling like he said he wasn't about to do personal stuff. But but honestly, up until this point, it's really big. It goes back to my pops. Like my pops was so big on like one of his main mantras that stuck in my head. And he even like regrets it now. Like not regrets it, but he's like, dang, I think I messed you. I think I messed you up. I set you up for this. But he was like, yo, it's going to be hard. Because early on, like my entire family has this gene where we all are like, whether it be career, entrepreneurship, sport, whatever it is like driven. Like we just like prioritize, especially, actually all of us. Because I got a cousin who doing a thing, and my pop, all that. He's like, it's going to be hard to be a businessman and be a family man. Now, he didn't say that's impossible. He said it's going to be hard to do because you only have so much time. If you think about 100% of a pie, you can't give more than 100%. There's no such thing as 110%.
True.
So eventually, something's going to have to give.
Right.
And oftentimes in our family, it's the family. We choosing the business. So he's like, listen, do the business thing first. Get to where you want to be first, then go into that, right? Because if not, you're going to have to make hard decisions that's going to impact not just you, but the other people you care about.
Right.
Ooh, got it. That was intentional for me, so far.
That's real. No, I was not. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't like,
You funny because you're like, oh, that's a wonderful story.
It's nice. I mean, being a woman, I don't get that luxury. Right? Like, no one told me nothing close to that.
Ooh, yeah, talk about it.
I grew up in a culture where it's, and I have older parents, so it's almost like the expectation is you get yourself married and you have children. But because of how I was raised and the things I went through, I chose to be very independent. My goal was to get financial freedom. And that led me to be a lot more career driven.
Right.
So I have recollection of having friends or roommates who were much more, leaning on romantic interests and finding their partners and looking to get married and like wanting a career and doing it, but also dating on the side or making sure, that was part of the motivation. That was never my motivation. I did not want to have to rely on a man to take care of me or to save me. For whatever reason, my mind just couldn't, I couldn't live that way. Right?
Yeah.
And to my detriment, to some extent, you can look at it as I'm single. So like I didn't balance the two. I only focused on one. But now, having made those choices, I don't regret any of it. I'm actually like, I like me. I've enjoyed me. I'm having a good old time. Yeah. But it also isn't easy to find a partner to want to have children with. Like the way I think, I don't want to just have kids to have them. Right. I want, I want
unit.
Yeah, like I planned out my own life, so why wouldn't I want it to like be in a certain way, like have like a family unit focused on a certain like agenda. Like we are here for a reason. Yeah. So.
Right, like it's purposeful.
Yeah.
On this earth.
Very intentional. So because of my intentions, I've unintentionally become child free.
No, I feel that. Right, I hear what you're saying. Like it wasn't you went into the game saying like, nah, I'm gonna be child free, but because of you did say I'm gonna go into the game and make sure that I don't have to depend on somebody. And not that you don't have support, right? But not to depend on somebody. Then the byproduct of that now is being child free, right? Got you. So it was an unintentional byproduct of your intentions. Yes, I hear that. That's fire. That's a cool story.
I ain't mad about it. It's just like ain't nobody sitting there saying wait till you. Nope. Yeah. Nope. At this point, people are like, aren't you? What are you waiting for?
Yeah, well, somebody, so that's another thing as we kind of go through that question about like, why do people not do it? So those R's, and they also like, if I center what's in the middle of that, like what's happening, a lot of it, at least for me, comes down to like finances, right? Whether it be the time to be able to commit to improve my financial situation or the actual expense. Ooh. Right, because in this interview, when they were doing the research, somebody had this amazing comment. Now, y'all, this is not me. I'm relaying the message. I'm gonna look right into the eyes of the camera, speak right into the microphone. I am relaying the message. The person said, children are the death of net worth.
They did say that. He did not come up with this quote himself. Yes.
Children are the death of net worth. Now, why would somebody say that? Well, let's look. From birth to the age of 18, this is on average. This is not including college. This is you do the bare minimum. On average, it costs a family over $300,000 to have a child and raise it from birth to 18. $300K. I'll put that out there. The median income is like $45,000.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
And that's just one child.
That's one child.
Woo.
Now, so when I'm thinking about it, it's like, why do people choose not to? They like, most folks, and 33% of people who are DINK, dual income, no kids, say they can't afford a kid, right?
Yeah.
Even though they're dual income, right? That's why people saying no.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, life is expensive.
I mean, childcare alone.
Oh, my Lord, right.
If you don't have, I don't know, grandparents, friends, aunties, people who can be home and watch your child, or you can't afford to stay home and watch your own child.
Right.
Childcare alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, you might as well send them to college at birth because it costs the same.
Start off at, born at, cribs all up in the couch.
Oh my God.
That's funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Start off at Howard, y'all. But yes, no, I hear that. I feel that though.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, like just start here. Nah, for real. And yeah, think about it. This is a situation where like the rich get rich and the less rich get less rich. Because you think about like, okay, if you can't afford child care and you don't have the income to allow for you to be able to like create that space or do other things, now you have to sacrifice certain situations, another job you want to do that, whatever it might be, to go and actually like take care of your child. So that's like a limiting on the amount of income you could even go and produce.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's where if you have the resources to do so, you can have like, I'll get the nanny and the baby, and not even just the resources, the support network.
Yes.
Right. I have, you said, auntie, nanny, babysitter, all that come take care of it. Yeah. Daycare.
Yeah.
Daycare is probably one of the most expensive things I've ever, like, talking to one of my homeboys now who live out the state. He's talking about like, it's like thousands of dollars a week.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
what?
If you're looking to get into a business that is lucrative, be a daycare provider because Lordy, it is very pricey.
That is expensive.
I can't fathom. My brain hurts at the thoughts. And if you have more than one child, again, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Now, so thinking about that, then it's like that's one reason. The other reason I think is the time. Right? Like people have said that in the interview they were talking about how like time is such a factor because it's not just the resources. Like what can't you go do?
Right.
Right. So for you, like when you thinking about, or we're talking about this, like have you also factored in the things that you're like able to do? I know you're talking about finances, right? And I know we all got goals to be debt free soon. But also like resource of time. Have you thought about that and like how much?
I have. Because there are times when I'm thinking about just having the time for myself.
Right.
Like after work or you've had a hard day or whatever the case may be, and you just need to go home and have some peace. Yeah. And I can. And I'm thankful. But then there are times when I think about the people in my life and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Because they're just like, these kids are in my ear and I just want to relax. And I can't fathom what that life is. So I think sometimes, what if that were me? And I was like, oh gosh. Yeah. Oh Lord. Yeah. I don't know if I'd sleep again. I just, and I get it. But I'm like, this choice that I intentionally made, I'm not mad about.
Yeah. Like the actual like seconds that go by, but also what you can do with those seconds. You know, and the fact that you can like retreat.
You could pick up and leave if you want without thoughts of another human missing you or needing to bring them with you or making sure they're set up and safe and, you know, worrying about them when you're away. It's like, if I just want to go on a trip, I can go on a trip. Ain't nobody looking for me. Yeah, right. Like I'm out. And for sure. And that's what I feel like. And by the way, I keep asking you questions like this in interview. At any point in time, if you want to come you up, like, hey, B, let me ask you this. Go ahead. I ain't you see how you be setting me up? Now I have to ask him a question. And if I don't ask him a question, y'all like, wow, you don't even care. I'm just like, remember this, sometimes it'll be like, hey, B, dang, you ain't let me act. I'm just trying to make sure this is a balanced scale. Now,
Don't play, because we could pull up old episodes.
I am not going to detract from the point of this episode, but we're going to talk about that later.
Let's have a whole nother episode, a mini episode about looking through communication with your best friends, yo. But nah, so, but no, in all seriousness though, like that makes sense. Like the space to do things, because truth be told, like even in like in the dating space, that I've said to people like, yo, I actually don't want to see you today, and it's not like. Nah, and it's not like to be rude or mean. It's like, actually, I need my own time with me. You know what I'm saying?
It's just the way you said it. It's like, dang. But you're right.
Nah, it's like, yo, in all seriousness, it's like, hey, I need my own time, right? And that's something I can choose to do. With a kid, like, I would never. It's like, no, that's my, you know what I'm saying? So you have to select, like, that again, that time space. Ain't just being get up and go. Like, oh, I'm going to go here and work remote. I'm going to go here and do that. I know some people right now, they are dual income, no kids, and they, like, live part of the time up where I'm at, and then they do the winter time in North Carolina. So summertime up here in New York, wintertime North Carolina, they back and forth easy. They can just do that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Sounds nice.
Man, what? Absolutely wonderful.
Relaxing, peaceful even.
Yeah, I was like, that's tough. Now, we talked about this a little bit off mic, off air. It's like, do we see this as a forever journey?
I ain't gonna lie, that's the rough part.
Yeah.
I do not like the thoughts of it all ending with me.
Right.
Like that line, that lineage. It's like, it's just me and my sister, and we are two girls. So I'm like, no one can take on those genes, or it's just, I don't like it. So do I want that to be my future? I can't foresee it as my forever future.
Yeah.
But if that is the case, like you don't know what life has in store for you,
Sure.
then I can accept it. I just don't want to have to.
Yeah.
Like I would like to choose when I'm ready and have those resources available so that it is not seamless, because it'll never be seamless, but I don't feel alone. Like I don't want to have to do that.
Yeah, like what resources? Partner.
Definitely a partner.
Yeah, for sure.
The finances. Because my parents are not close by. I don't have much family close by to watch these children. So if I have to pay for daycare, it's like, I'm going to need some money.
So same, like me bouncing around thinking about that too. That make a lot of sense. Like, yeah, you're right. Like who? So it was on me. You know what I'm saying? If my partner got hella family, then great. But for me, it's like, nah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Now they will be going to spend summers with your granddad. Go take the whole summer up there, y'all. Get up out of here. But nah, for sure. I think that I'm with you about not seeing that's my forever future. Mainly because, like, and we talk about this too. It's a choice around, because I do personally believe. Now, there's some people who are put on this earth to be parents. Like that's all they wanted to be. Like that gives them joy.
And they have the time, the energy, the patience,
the
like
passion.
Oh.
Like they want to do that.
They make it work, even without the finances. They make it work.
Yo, it's like they love it. They love it. Now, I think I'm gonna be a good parent just off of pure, like, the core skills that make you a good parent: consistency, transparency. You know what I'm saying? Like, consistency is important.
Yes,
Transparency is important. Like, love is important. Not acting not purely out of emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like, all those things important. I'll be a good parent for that. But I'm not waking up like, y'all, I can't wait to do this. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I got a passion to help develop people. So I can get the same motivation out of, like, helping my basketball players or, like, people who I mentor and all that. But I cannot imagine. So because of that, like, I 100% could see, like, my best life being child free.
Yeah.
Like, that's my best life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
However, it's not just about me.
Nah.
It's like, what impact? Because my time here is finite. And so if I can, it took me, 25 plus years to get to the place where I'm figuring all these things out. If I can get my kid there in 20 years, 19 years,
like
18 years, and then they got all this runway to get things done, it's not just those extra years, but you double, it's exponential. Like, it compounds the time you have. And then they get they people right. And now from, that's when you get the generations that are developed and coming in the way that you see people who have lineage. So it's beyond me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And the impact they're going to have on their communities and their people. So I feel like it's almost like a duty for me to figure this out. But it's like, I'm going to get as much out of this time as I can.
Yes, let's bless the world with many versions of you. That sounds wonderful.
Is that what you took from that? That's all you took
like
from
that?
this? That's what you took from that?
No, I think that's good. I think I've heard people say that there are some people in this world who should reproduce because of the type of person they are. It's like, and I can't lie, I've admired a lot of parents when I've met their kids and seeing how their kid acts when their parent is not near them. I'm like, wow. Like, what a phenomenal job. I mean, not only are their children, like, well-spoken, but, I mean, they have a voice, and they know how to use it, and they have confidence, and they, like, if their no is a no, they mean that no, and that's okay. You know, it's just, like, they're open, and they can be vulnerable, and they can also they have strong boundaries, and I'm just like, wow, what an amazing job. And I'm impressed, and I love it. And I was like, if I were to have, if the Lord see fit that's what happens, and I have children, that's the type of parent I'd like to be. So it's like, it's nice to see sometimes, like, wow, you were meant for this. This child was meant to be. It's those thoughts come to mind.
Yeah.
So
I hear that. And do you feel like the like so we talk a lot about the finances and whatnot, and like the impact all around the board, but like specifically for people who are who are not single income, no kids, but dual, and they have a partner, what impact, whether it be positive or negative, you think that has on the relationship, or could it have on the relationship?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes you have a child with your partner, and that child is the main focus. You almost lose sight of each other sometimes. And there are other times when you meet a lot of people who don't really discuss parenting until they have the kid.
Right.
And all of a sudden, they're on completely different ends. And they have conflict because of those type of things, which you can see kind of drive them apart.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no right or wrong for anybody. It's more like, what choice do you want to make? And if you're going to choose to have kids, like, we got to talk about this, guys.
Yeah.
Because that support is essential.
Yeah.
But sometimes people don't even notice they do certain things. Like, there are times partners will check out.
Right.
And the other partner's doing all the, like, work with the child, or some partners are like coveting and they only do the work because they don't trust the other partner. All those things can come up.
So what potential benefits then not having, like, what I'm saying, being child free?
You're almost forced to only spend time with each other.
Right.
Like, yeah, we can keep building this.
Right. You can focus on your relationship with your partner. Yeah.
Which is nice and healthy and needed.
Yeah. I think that too, and I think you can focus on like that, and then you could also like together kind of financially build and plan. It just brings a whole nother level of capacity for you to think about those things. And then I think some of the like potential maybe like negatives or downsides is, I think that in many ways having children, I think if you do it right, can actually bring people closer. It's like kind of like, we made this together, you know what I'm saying? Even while a lot of the time, not all the time, but people will have children with a partner and then like split up, but they still are always connected.
Yes.
Via that kid, you know? And so that can, I think, bring you closer. And so not having kids, I think that could be one of the drawbacks. It's like that in a unique way, when you are responsible for another life.
Yeah.
It's like something that can't really be replicated.
Nah.
But like just the idea of like, yeah, let's just focus on us. Cause I've like heard and seen in like therapy sessions where folks are like, or they talk about therapy sessions where folks will say like, yeah, we stopped working on us and everything became about the children, and we never actually continued to build our relationship, and so like with that out of the picture,
right,
then you get to, you can focus on that a lot more intentionally.
Right.
Yeah.
Which becomes difficult, and people don't notice for a while because, all of a sudden the kids get older, they don't need you as much. It's like, where's that relationship I once had?
Yeah. I do hear that. And the other question here was about cultural or like racial factors, and I'm thinking like, man, in Black culture, like what's happening with that? And in some ways, because of like how systemic poverty, systemic racism, the attack on Black men in the prisons, all those things have made it to where like it's like hard for many of us coming out of Black America to make it. It's harder,
right?
Because you have all of the other factors that everybody would say they're impacted by. Well, poverty affects me and this, that, and the third. But when you add race into the mix, it's like, yeah, it's different though. So it's like sometimes I feel obligation, like as a successful Black human, you know what I'm saying, that has made it through all of the social, physical, cultural like like drastic things. But all right, now I kind of like got a responsibility because like my theoretically, my kids will have a better option, a better chance than somebody who's like in, you know what I'm saying? Specifically poverty, which is like the number one indicator of people and their success and generational wealth and all that.
Right.
So I kind of have, I feel like an obligation. You know what I mean? I think that's the risk. That's the factors that play culturally. It's kind of like an expectation, like, yo, you got to keep this going for your community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, nah.
I mean, and then culture-wise, the way or the rate that Black women have like health complications,
Lord.
Or
snaps, y'all. Poetry snaps.
Die in childbirth.
Oh,
just so many
Lord.
things that make me more hesitant.
That's a great. We should have. How could we not talk about that? Keep
I mean, it's in my head all the time. I was like, and then so everyone says based on age, you know, it's the geriatric pregnancy after like 35 or this and the third, and then compound that with being a Black woman. I don't have this like drive to put my body through that with like
that's a good point.
A lack of concern. Like I don't feel safe enough to physically have a child, which frightens me because I'm like, but do I want one? I was like, maybe, you know, and that's a heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah,
that's nerve wracking.
That's a
great
point because maternal mortality rates is on a rise in America for every race, but it's like I think it might be close to like 50% or more higher for Black women. So it's like, hey, nah. It's like this is an option out of like safe. This is a safety option.
Yeah.
Not even just a moral or like a like financial. Like this is a safety decision. Man, that's real. Oh my Lord. What?
Yeah, I could cry right now just thinking about it. Like,
why would I?
That's been on my mind for a while. I'm like, I don't want to put myself at risk.
Ooh,
or the baby at risk, you know?
Nah, that's real. Yeah, that's so valid. So it's like, nah, I'm gonna opt out. And that goes back to resources, right? Like, and even that don't matter because we've seen many people, the most famous one being like Serena Williams and Beyonce, who all have had trouble, right, as Black women. But yeah, that makes sense. And having the resources too in terms of things like prenatal care. You know, like what are these PrEP things that I have access to? Right. Cultural and social risk factors, again, because of systemic poverty and racism that impact people. So, yo, Lord. Yeah. Okay. But for folks like, so all of that framed in context is like, we see why these numbers are on the rise. You know what I'm saying? Because even just the last that I want to hit people with is that, again, 2022, 43% of Americans said, 45% of Americans said they want to get married. But only a quarter said they wanted children. People, it's not that people don't want to get together. You know, even though that number is still low compared to as far as marriage. But even when you compare that to people who say, "Yeah, I want to have a partner and get married," still like, I don't know about the kids. You know, So it's just like I think it's this idea because the second part of this episode, the title, Childfree. That second part of that is, I think, the part that's the most impactful to people. Yeah. Free. Yeah. Like, free.
Who don't want freedom?
Free. How we look at that. Because you're free, and then the opposite end of that is children are not free. No. So it's like, no, this is a cost. But we love kids, and we thank for all the people who have chosen to have kids, and we think it's amazing and great, and they're all beautiful and lovely.
Absolutely. I've been an auntie since I was 5 years old. Hey, man, beautiful children.
All the siblings, all the disclaimers to be like, we're not children haters, y'all. Don't cancel us.
No, we love them.
Yeah, we love kids, y'all. Just go ahead and keep doing it. Just gonna put that out there. So my last point before we get out of here, then like we're gonna give. Hey, just make sure y'all we will not get us. You know what I'm saying? They don't cancel us up in here, y'all.
I cannot.
But my last point, I guess before we kind of give like our advice, if we can do that, is just thinking about like this, like not having children, just to give all this in context. Actually, that is one of the scariest things. Like that is one of the scariest things for the U.S., like the U.S. government, right? Because for a long time, the way you kind of judge success of a country is the birth rate, right? Especially when you think about the way people like taxes. And once you're born, you will no longer be able to get through life without paying the government. You're gonna have whether it be sales tax, income tax, tax on taxes, business tax,
tax on taxes. Yeah.
Everything is taxed,
Yeah.
right? And so folks choosing not to have kids at such a high rate is like very scary for the government. You know what I'm saying? And so thinking about the context of like the mass push to like stop this also, that's happening. And so like folks have to navigate that, and that kind of that reinforces the judgment that people can get from like their families and folks when they opt to not have kids. And we gotta like know like that's also this huge societal narrative that's really being pushed because it does impact the economy in a negative way, whereas the economy trickles into all the other things, right? And so I guess that goes into like what we say to folks. For me, it would be if you sit down and you make that decision, I would say feel validated in your decisions. Like, no, that is the right decision. Inflation is up.
Yeah.
You know? And you don't want to be resentful. You want to make sure you can be emotionally available. So if you're making a tough decision, like your family, while they have like your best interest most of the time, hopefully at heart, it's like you have to live with this, right? And so at the end of the day, it's like my thoughts or advice is like, yeah, choose what's right and what's best for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I would say for those who are ones who make comments to people who don't have any, or always like, when you gonna have some, recognize you just don't know what everyone's story is, right? Why they can't, why they won't, why they don't. It's no one else's business. And I think we have to be a lot more sensitive to recognizing everyone doesn't have the same story or the same path, and that is okay. They are just as valuable.
Amen.
As those with kids or without kids, you know?
Yeah, amen. And y'all listening right now thinking, what in the world are they talking about? Look, we might be right.
You might be wrong.
But at the end of the day,
we just young, black, and figuring it out.
CC on the track, boy.